Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Courageous Journey. My name is Paula Walters, and this episode is I Don't Want to Be an Influencer. I want to leave breadcrumbs. And this has kind of been a long coming thing. Like, if you have followed me for any time, I have kind of been all over the place. Like, I have really struggled to find my lane. So when you start getting online or you're going to speak or anything like that, everybody is like, you need to have your lane, your niche, as it's said. And like, I didn't understand what I should do. Like, should I be talking about child abuse? Should I be talking about domestic violence? Should I be talking about brain injury? Should I be talking about the impacts of trauma? Like, which one? And I have really struggled with that because, like, they're not siloed. You can't individualize them for a lot of people, and realistically, not for me. And so the whole point of that, the doctors, like the medical doctors, the mental health doctors, the attorneys, like, everybody separates these things, and in those separations are gaps, and those gaps are where I fell in, which ultimately led to me being misdiagnosed and me having mental health struggles and like a lot of that stuff. And I don't want to do that anymore. And so, like, when I first started becoming serious about, like, okay, I'm going to get out on social media more. Because, like, I realized something recently that was actually pretty freeing. And not wanting to be an influencer, like, when I first started getting on social media, TikTok seemed to be like the place to grow. And, like, as I started, thinking more about followers, reach, monetization, and how people make a living online, I was like, okay, that must be what I'm supposed to build. But it never felt right to me. I don't want to live my life with a camera in my face. I am one of those people that I would say all but 4 hours of the day has my phone on Do Not Disturb. Like, I censor everything. Like, I don't want to be living with a camera in my face. I don't do well with technology, with my brain injury. I don't like that. I don't, and it didn't feel right. And so, like, how do you reach people? How do you reach other survivors? How do you reach the people that you want to go speak in front of, and all of that stuff? And I realized, I've had a lot of growth in the last 6 months. And in that place, if you've been following me, back in the end of April and 1st of May this year in 2026, I went back out to Minneapolis to work with Mike, my functional neurologist, Dr. Hennis. And that was like when this last piece of my healing came together. And that was like that my like proprioception was off. So, like, I have, as a trauma survivor, long story short, I am up and forward. And so, like, I'm trying to release that, kind of release that tension and help get myself out of fight or flight. Those things were still keeping me in that brain injury and the brain fatigue and stuff like that. And so since I have been able to figure that piece out, like, I have felt amazing. Like, I haven't really had a truly bad brain day. And if I have, it's because, like, I did a 24 and I didn't get much sleep. Like, I know exactly where it's coming from. And so before that trip, I realized that like I was searching for something. And when I really asked myself why I was so focused on making money from social media, I realized I wasn't necessarily chasing an influencer career. I was building myself an escape route. And what I thought I needed to escape was EMS. EMS is hard on my brain. It is hard on my body. Long hours, stress, interrupted routines, the physical demands, all of it. And because of my history, prolonged trauma exposure, living in fight or flight from years of trauma, the things that I see, the not having much sleep, all of that stuff, I was trying to find a way to support myself. So recently, over the last couple of months, I tried to get a part-time job at Tractor Supply. I loved it. I loved being around the people. The reality is that it doesn't have the flexibility to take care of my mom. It doesn't have the flexibility to work around my speaking and stuff like that. So I really had to take this moment of like, okay, it is good for, it gets me out of EMS, but it doesn't give me the chance to chase the future versions of me that I'm trying to become. And so then there was this moment, like, as much as I love speaking and training, it like the social media influencer part started looking like a potential exit from EMS. And then when I did the Tractor Supply thing, I realized like, my problem wasn't the job. The problem was I kept trying to figure out a way to leave something that I actually love. Like, I love EMS. I love serving my community. That is like kind of my way of, in my faith, believing that I can serve and be the hands and feet of Jesus. Being there in someone's worst moments, because I remember those moments of feeling like you're going to die or that you wish you would, and not having anybody there with me to like having somebody explain it to me and those types of things. I find purpose in that work. The problem was I used to do it from a place of identity. Like, it's who I was, and it was my feed for that chaos that I was, addicted to, or not really addicted to, but that felt like home. And so now I've realized, like, I very much have two completely different not personalities, but like, there's work mode Paula and there is home Paula. They are completely different. And that is not the way it used to be. It used to be I would be at work and there would be that chaos, but then I did the chaos at home, the drinking, the always got to be on the go, all of that stuff. And so like, I know that I still recognize that I very much need to have boundaries around how I be a paramedic. But loving something doesn't mean pretending that it doesn't have cost. You just have to balance it. And that is why, I don't have to leave it, because I think that is something that I'm not really ready to give up. And that's why I've been having one foot in the boat and one foot on the dock. And maybe the answer isn't that I have to choose one life or the other. And so I will continue to serve my community through my EMS, but I want to serve a much larger community through the education. And So I wanna like explain what that means. I back in 2019, when I had my paramedic taken away, when my driving privileges were restricted, I just felt in the deepest parts of me that something was wrong. Like I don't have all of this. Like I was told that I have a debilitating, aggressive MS and that I probably wouldn't see 50 and that I would have to, most likely be on disability for the rest of my life and all of those things. And that was hard for me. And so like I started researching because that seed was planted by Bill Smock. And when Dr. Smock planted that seed that I could potentially have a brain injury, I started researching. I started getting on the internet, finding everything. And I found this Facebook group that had this woman named Amy Zellmer who does all of this talking about her symptoms after her brain injury from hitting her head on the ice while taking her, dog outside. And although our stories weren't really the same, it gave me this direction to investigate. And I was like, I have a lot of that. And Dr. Smock talked about me having a brain injury. Like, I wonder if I could have it. And eventually her Facebook group, her podcast, her things opened the door that helped lead me to functional neurology in a major, huge, pivotal turning point in my healing. And when I reached out to her and she told me about that, like it opened the door. That person didn't know me. They weren't creating content specifically for me. They simply shared what they had learned. And somewhere out there is a woman searching for answers who needed to hear it. I was that woman. And that is my reason, not influencing, not followers, not being whatever. It's breadcrumbs. Leaving small breadcrumbs. Here's the thing. A survivor may recognize something in my story in themselves. A spouse or a parent may suddenly understand the survivor's behaviors differently. A paramedic may ask one additional question. An advocate who recognizes this possible brain injury may open the door for the survivor. An attorney who now understands memory a little bit differently. A healthcare professional who looks beyond the symptoms. Someone struggling who realizes there may be another explanation worth exploring. Like what happened to me. And here was the big aha moment for me. I don't need 1 million followers to accomplish that. I need the right information to reach the right person at the right time. A post reaching only 300 people could matter tremendously if one of those 300 people needed it. People often say, it is what it is. Life sucks. Nobody cares. What's the point? Nothing's going to change. I recognize those words because I used to say versions of them myself. But life feels so different today. Like, not because everything is easy, not because I don't struggle, not because I've somehow perfected healing, but today I have purpose, goals, curiosity, things I'm building, things I'm learning. I have hope. The version of me who couldn't imagine wanting to live sometimes feels like a memory of another person. I remember her. I have compassion for her, but I don't live inside her worldview anymore. The more I understand about emotional states, nervous system activation, brain function, survival responses, recovery, what helps you regulate, how temporary internal states can feel like permanent behaviors, permanent spots when you're inside of them. Understanding doesn't mean I never have bad days. It means I don't automatically believe everything my brain tells me on a bad day. I now know that I need to protect my sleep, go to bed early. I wake up early. I can't tell you the last time I had to wake up by an alarm. I wake up fully rested, exercising. I'm working on my neuro rehab. I'm beginning to train for a marathon. I'm working on my flexibility and my strength. I garden. I cook. I love writing. I love research. I'm building this course and I'm writing a book, rewriting a book. And sometimes people legitimately tease me about it. I understand why my life might look strange to someone else, but I also know what my life felt like when I didn't have anything I was excited to wake up for. I'm not trying to fill every minute because I don't know how to rest, to truly rest. So I'm trying to be intentional about what I feed my brain, my body, and my life. I've also started asking harder questions about the systems around us. We have enormous systems devoted to treating illness, managing symptoms, responding after crisis, treating mental health struggles, responding after violence, managing chronic disease. But how much attention do we give to helping people understand what keeps them well, connected, purposeful, and resilient before they reach the crisis? I'm becoming much more intentional in what keeps people get unstuck than simply describing all the ways they're stuck. And that is why everything I'm building looks different to me now. I'm not trying to create content. I'm building things I wish existed when I was searching. The book, something that can sit beside the younger version of me and help survivors and professionals understand what I didn't understand then. To look back, the courses, Education that takes complex ideas and makes them understandable and usable. The podcast and YouTube, places where I go deeper than a social media caption. My social media, breadcrumbs that may reach someone who doesn't even know what question they need to ask yet. And my own journey, marathon training, strengthening, flexibility, neuro rehab, setbacks, successes, all opportunities to keep learning about adaptations in the brain-body relationship after trauma. Someone I'll probably never be able to adequately thank shared a part of their brain injury journey. Their story wasn't my story. Their injury wasn't my injury, but they left a breadcrumb. And I came along and I found it. It led me to another question. That question led to another door. And eventually one of those doors changed the trajectory of my healing. I am here today because of someone else leaving breadcrumbs. And that is what I want the courageous journey to become. Not a place where someone tells you that they have all the answers. A place where we keep asking better questions. A place where survivors can find language for things they haven't understood. A place where families can begin connecting pieces and behaviors. A place where professionals might encounter one idea that changes the way they see the person sitting in front of them. I don't want to be an influencer. I want to leave those breadcrumbs because somebody else's breadcrumbs once changed my life. And maybe that's enough of a reason to keep leaving them. Because healing begins with understanding. Thank you for joining me. If this podcast or video is something that you felt connected to, I would appreciate you subscribing or sharing it. Thank you for joining me on this courageous journey. You have a wonderful day.